Beach Airport, information uniform 1456 Zulu.
In the world of general aviation, many pilots choose to stay away from busy towered airports. Unfortunately, that means they miss out on some of the real advantages of flying. This video will take a thorough look at what it takes to fly safely at towered airports, both in the air and on the ground.
You have information uniform.
SoCal approach Cessna 80138.
November 80138, SoCal approach.
SoCal Cessna 80138, a 172RG 20 miles south of Seal Beach.
We're going to join Jordan Williams as he flies into busy Long Beach Airport. A good friend and fellow pilot who has just moved to the area has asked him to coach her on how to use towered airports safely.
Cessna 138, SoCal approach, radar contact. Proceed to the Queen Mary for pattern entry to Long Beach. Maintain VFR.
138, roger.
Jordan is an experienced pilot, and he has flown into and out of Long Beach Airport many times. His trip so far has been uneventful.
Cessna 138, contact Long Beach Tower, R119.4.
Tower Cessna 80138 is over the Queen at 1,500 feet, landing Long Beach with uniform.
Cessna 80138, make left traffic, runway 25 left, report Signal Hill.
We'll report Signal Hill 138. 138 Signal Hill.
Cessna 138, number 2, follow the Cessna head, runway 25 left, cleared to land.
138, roger.
Long Beach Airport is a particularly complex field with intersecting parallel runways, a long diagonal for large aircraft, and an intricate system of taxiways. We chose it especially for this video because it has everything you're likely to encounter at a towered field. Watch closely what happens once Jordan is on the ground.
Cessna 138, cancel your landing clearance, extend downwind, change to runway 25 right, contact tower 120.5.
138, roger. Tower 138, downwind.
Cessna 80138, Long Beach Tower, turn base at the 605 for runway 25 right. Clear to land, hold short of runway 30 for departing traffic.
Hold short 30, 138.
Cessna 138, traffic 11 o'clock, 1/2 mile left to right, has you in sight, a helicopter.
138. Long Beach ground, Cessna 80138 off runway 25 right. Request taxi to Millionaire at Aeroplex.
Cessna 80138, roger. Turn right on Kilo, hold short, runway 30.
Hold short 30 on Kilo, Cessna 138.
Cessna 138, cross runway 30, hold on the other side, then contact ground on 135.8.
Roger, cross runway 30 and hold, ground 135.8 on the other side, 138.
Cessna 738, Victor Charlie, Long Beach ground, hold short, runway 25 left at Bravo.
Hey, Victor Charlie, roger, hold short at 25 left.
Long Beach ground, Cessna 80138 on Kilo west of runway 30 for Aeroplex.
Cessna 80138, Long Beach ground, follow the Cessna ahead, hold short, runway 25 left at Bravo.
Hold short 25 left, 138.
Checking out at 260 Tango. Turn base now, runway 25 left, clear to land.
Cessna 8 Victor Charlie, hold short, runway 25 left. Cessna 8 Victor Charlie, stop. Jim, I'm not stopping here.
Check 60 Tango, start a climb immediately, go around, we got unauthorized traffic across the runway.
Welcome to California. I'm Bruce Landsberg. You know, as pilots, we're concerned about a lot of things when we fly into busy airports like Long Beach. We're concerned about our proximity to the Los Angeles Class B airspace, traffic in the air and on the freeways, all kinds of things. One thing we're not too concerned about, but perhaps we should be, is runway incursions. Incursions are on the rise, and it's up to all of us to reverse the trend. And incursions can be deadly. The worst aviation accident of all time resulted from a runway incursion. The event you've just witnessed could have turned out very badly, but tower teamwork and an alert pilot helped to turn that into an incident rather than an accident. The video that you're about to see will give you the information that you need to fly safely into busy airports like Long Beach. Now, let's get back to Jordan as he introduces a private pilot to towered airport operations.
Jordan's friend Candace Robinson is wise to seek some instruction to expand her skills to include towered fields. Jordan has arranged for Candace to tour the tower at Long Beach so she could see for herself exactly what air traffic controllers do. The FAA encourages these tours because they help pilots get a feel for what's going on when they contact clearance delivery, ground control, and tower.
Jordan.
How you doing, Joe?
Hi, how are you?
Fine,
nice
fine,
to see
fine.
you.
I'd like you to meet a good friend of mine, Candace Robinson.
Candace, appreciate you calling in advance and setting this up.
I knew if anybody could help us, you could.
Well, Candace, what we do here is fairly complex at times, but what it boils down to is separating aircraft in the air and on the ground. To do this, the
tower functions are organized to facilitate clear communication with pilots and coordination among controllers. Local control is responsible for aircraft departing and arriving on the runways. The cab coordinator does not talk to airplanes, but monitors local and ground control by listening to all communications with pilots. This position also assists in coordination between the tower and other facilities. Ground control is responsible for all taxiway movements, but is not directly responsible for any runways. Any action by ground control that would put an airplane on an active runway must be coordinated with the local controller. Clearance delivery is usually the first radio contact for pilots departing towered airports. Clearance delivery controllers issue IFR clearances, and at some airports they coordinate VFR departures as well.
So then it's imperative for the pilot to read back on instructions.
Readbacks confirm clear communication about important instructions. Pilots should read back all clearances. On the ground, pilots should read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Controllers must receive a verbatim readback of all hold short instructions.
teamwork is critical for both pilots and controllers alike, and equally as critical is that we all do our job and task at 100% concentration. For example, you saw the incursion that occurred with the 172 who was instructed to hold short of 25 left at Bravo, and he failed to hold short. The local controller had to send the aircraft on final round for only 25 left. Unfortunately, it resulted in a runway incursion and pilot deviation.
Joe, what if I'm not comfortable with the clearance?
Good question. If you're not comfortable with any clearance you receive, tell ATC as soon as you can. We want to know quickly so that we can make another plan. For example, at an airport like Long Beach that has crossing runways, we may ask you to land on one runway and hold short of a different runway, the crossing runway. And in this way, we can get two airplanes to land simultaneously on crossing runways. That's called land and hold short operations, or LASSO.
Land and hold short operations, or LASSO, are very common at airports that have intersecting runways. You know, as a pilot, you are always responsible for knowing the runway length at any airport where you plan to land. For LASSO, runway length becomes the distance to the hold short position. If you doubt whether you can land within that distance for any reason, you must notify the tower. Also, if you ask, controllers will gladly tell you how much runway length is available to you. The time spent in the tower gave Candace a much clearer understanding of how controllers and pilots work together to assure safe operations at towered fields. She and Jordan concluded their visit by listening to a whole series of radio communications. This is excellent practice for mastering the special language that pilots and controllers use to communicate at towered airports everywhere.
So what was the weather like?
Typical California. Severe thunderstorms, a tornado at the coast.
After their visit to the tower, Jordan helped Candace plan a flight from Long Beach to Catalina and back so she could experience both arrival and departure.
But seriously, it's really a really nice day out there. There's no ceiling at all. The winds are 5 to 10 knots out of the south.
Good. Now, you need to know that that is not always the case for LA. I mean, we're famous for low visibility, you know, especially with an arrival from the east in the late afternoon. Now, you're going to need some strategies for coping with that here, okay? Now, I usually have a nav plan from a reporting point that will let me fly a heading straight to where I'm going. Now, another strategy is to approach the field from the west so the sun is at your back. And it's also helpful to pick a very visible landmark like the Dome and Queen Mary.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. Did you happen to ask them about any special procedures in force here?
No, I didn't even think of that.
It's always a good idea to find out about local procedures. Noise abatement procedures are most common. Local conditions often determine what you'll find at a particular field. For example, the variable winds at Long Beach require the intersecting runways, and that means land and hold short operations.
That's a lot to think about, huh?
Yeah, it is.
I start by making sure I have everything I need to find information. You know, charts. I carry a sectional, instrument approach charts, JEP or NOS, either one primarily for airport diagrams, the LA terminal area chart, and an airport directory.
The first thing you should do when planning a flight is to learn as much as you can about the area.
Okay, it looks like I can see what's going on. Long Beach is Class D, but right to the west is Class B.
Identifying the kind of airspace found along a route of flight is basic to the planning process. Los Angeles has Class B, C, D, and E airspace, with both military and civilian airports.
Jordan, what about using flight following?
Well, by all means request it, but don't expect the controller to navigate for you.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
All right, let's see, what else do you see on the chart? How about landmarks?
Okay, well, there's the freeway intersections. I'd use those. Here's the breakwater, oil rigs, the Dome and the Queen Mary, and Signal Hill.
That's good. A couple of the others that
Although we're planning a flight from Long Beach, pilots should use the same planning techniques and procedures for any unfamiliar airport. Planning on the ground means you'll have more time to scan for traffic in flight.
Okay, well, here's Signal Hill.
Yeah.
It's 600 feet, but that's about it. Since we'll be going south, let's use runway 25 left.
Yeah.
That way we won't have to cross traffic. It's also the shorter one, so they'll probably prefer for us to use it for the slower guys. Then, since we're here on the field, we'll use taxiway Foxtrot and Delta.
Okay, now good. Let me show you something that can complicate things.
Be sure to consider the impact of different weather conditions on flight operations. A change in wind direction may require a different runway, and that could also mean a change from left to right traffic. Pilots must be sure to maintain their orientation on the ground, because landing on a different runway usually means different taxi routes as well.
Okay. Well, I can see how this layout could get you turned around a little bit.
Yeah. You know, Candace, there's another thing you need to be thinking about when you land at a field that's used by big aircraft, and that's wake turbulence.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Now, the rule is to stay high and upwind, but the safest thing to do is to extend your downwind or slow down to increase your distance behind these big guys. Now, there's one issue that's probably the most important thing I can tell you about operating at towered airports.
And that is?
Communication. You've got to be precise and succinct. I mean, who you are, where you are, including altitude, and what you want to do.
And altitude also?
Jordan is absolutely right about the importance of communication, and it's essential to be able to hear well. It's a good idea to use a headset with a mic and push-to-talk switch. There's just too much going on to rely on a handheld mic and a speaker. Don't be afraid to ask controllers to say again. They can't tell if one of their transmissions has been stepped on or blocked, so get it clear. They also need to know that you've heard them correctly, so you read back all clearances. If your radio fails, the tower will use their light gun signals to help get you on the ground. Some pilots keep a chart of the signals on their clipboard. They're just complicated enough, and you want to know what they mean if the situation comes up.
Jordan, I really miss the simplicity of the mountains back home.
Yeah, I know you did, but you're here now. And you'll get the hang of it. I mean, just try listening on your handheld to get the feel of it. Pretty soon you'll know what they're going to say even before they say it. And you'll have a pretty good idea of what's going on with the other aircraft in the area.
Okay, well, I'm sure I'm going to be able to sort it out.
So am I. I mean, controllers give you a second set of eyes when it comes to traffic, and that's awful helpful. But you have to look.
When air traffic controllers alert you to traffic, one thing you must remember is that their radar only sees you as a blip. They can't tell whether you're turning or flying a heading that is compensating for wind. So when they report traffic at 1 o'clock, for example, you need to increase your scan angle so you can find the traffic.
Thank you for doing this with me. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're more than welcome, and I'm really looking forward to flying with you.
Clear!
With a beautiful day and some solid pre-flight planning behind them, Jordan and Candace set out to explore the Long Beach Airport environment.
Read back all hold short instructions and runway assignments. Advise on initial contact. Give information. Tango.
Jordan, they're using runway 16. Let me go ahead and take a look at the airport diagram here and just review where we are. Yeah, maybe I should ask for progressive. Clearance delivery, Cherokee 90260 Tango.
Cherokee 90260 Tango, Long Beach clearance delivery.
60 Tango is a PA 28161 Slant Alpha at Aeroplex with information. We'd like a VFR departure to the south, and we're going to need progressives also, please.
Cherokee 60 Tango, no problem. Then verify your information, Tango.
60 Tango has Tango.
Cherokee 60 Tango, contact ground control on 133.0.
Long Beach ground control. Cherokee 90260 Tango is at Aeroplex with information. Tango, we'd like to taxi to runway 16 right with progressives, please.
Cherokee 90260 Tango, Long Beach ground. Make the right turn on Foxtrot, and I'll keep you advised from there. Cherokee 60 Tango, make the right turn on Juliet, then the immediate left turn on Delta. Proceed northwestbound on Delta.
Right turn on Juliet, left turn onto Delta, 60 Tango. Yeah, this is a lot different than what I thought.
Cessna 70 X-ray, next taxiway is Foxtrot, make the left turn on Foxtrot. Cherokee 60 Tango, continue straight ahead about another 2,000 feet ahead, you'll see 16 right at Delta.
Looking for 16 right at Delta, 60 Tango. Okay, I see the taxiway, or the runway marking sign right there.
Cessna 70 X-ray, do you have 16 right in sight?
Affirmative, 60 Tango, we'll hold short right here and give tower a call when we're ready to go.
Candace, it's worth pointing out that all runway hold positions are marked with 4 yellow lines. You know, there are 2 solid and 2 dashed, and you always stop on the solid line side.
Long Beach Airport, like most airports in populous areas, has stringent noise abatement procedures that are in force 24 hours a day. Noise abatement procedures are often posted in run-up areas, and they are also found in the airport facility directory.
Long Beach Tower, Cherokee 90260 Tangos, holding short of runway 16 right at Delta, ready for takeoff.
Cherokee 60 Tango, Long Beach Tower, runway 16 right at Delta, clear for takeoff right.
Clear for takeoff on runway 16 right, 60 Tango.
Isn't this pretty?
What a great day to go flying.
I'll tell you what.
With that taxi across the airport, that's about as hectic as I want it to be.
Cherokee 60 Tango, traffic mile and a half southeast of you, indicating 500 feet southwestbound.
60 Tango's looking. He said southeast. Oh, I see him. He's a helicopter. 60 Tango has traffic.
60 Tango, roger, and Friction Cherry Blue, good day.
60 Tango, thanks a lot. Good day. SoCal approach, Cherokee 90260 Tango.
Cherokee 60 Tango, SoCal, go ahead.
Cherokee 90260 Tango is a PA 28161 Slant Alpha. We're climbing through 2300 to 4500. Request VFR traffic advisories to Catalina.
Cherokee 60 Tango, squawk 0251.
0251, 60 Tango.
Cherokee 60 Tango, radar contact 4 miles southwest of the Queen Mary. Verify altitude.
60 Tango's climbing through 2800 for 4500.
The flight to Catalina Island helped Candace begin to learn about her new hometown area. In addition, she saw how to work with approach and departure controllers.
SoCal approach, 60 Tango. We'd like to do a couple 360s around the Queen Mary for some pictures at 1500 feet.
Zero Tango, maintain VFR approach.
60 Tango.
On the return flight, Candace and Jordan circled one of the area's most famous landmarks before landing at Long Beach.
Long Beach Tower, Cherokee 90260 Tango, Queen Mary with Tango for runway 16 right.
Cherokee 60 Tango, traffic just off your right, about a mile and a half, indicating 2,000 feet. It's a Duchess heading straight out.
60 Tango's looking.
He must have just come out.
And Cherokee 60 Tango, enter direct right downwind, runway 16 right, and report a mile south of Signal Hill.
Direct downwind for 16 right, and we'll report Signal Hill, 60 Tango.
Cherokee 60 Tango, runway 16 right, cleared to land, wind 210 at 10.
Well, what'd you think?
Wow, there was a lot of traffic out there. I'm glad that happened to me with you on
Cherokee
board.
60 Tango, contact on 135.8 off runway.
You know you're not clear until the plane is completely past that the solid line.
Okay, I passed that right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I see it right back there.
During taxi, Jordan reviewed the standard airport signs and marking. Hold lines on taxiways and runways. Runway and taxiway signs. Runway center line and edge marking. And taxiway markings. Flying at night brings a different set of challenges, and Jordan decided to take Candace on the same flight around the Queen Mary to make the point.
I'm really looking forward to this, Jordan. This is great.
Well, when you're flying around here, there are a lot more lights, and you got to look for different reference points.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, you'll see when we get up there. Come on.
Okay, let's go.
The view from the tower at night is not that different from the daytime view. The runways and taxiways are clearly seen. The view from the field level, however, is dramatically different, and it's much more difficult to see what's going on.
Cherokee 60 Tango, approved to request runway 25 left, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 25 left, 60 Tango.
Pilots who usually fly in sparsely populated areas are amazed at the difficulty of locating airports in or near large cities. For this reason, it's always good practice, especially for VFR pilots, to get a night checkout in unfamiliar urban areas.
Yeah, there sure are a lot of lights out here.
You can see the ocean, though. And actually, that's what you look for when we head back. Black space. I mean, that's what the airport looks like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure you're used to looking for lights, right?
Right. Yeah, the runways are usually really bright out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Where the landscape is mostly dark, beacons, approach light systems, and runway lights distinguish airports from their surroundings. But in urban areas, pilots will find the airports in dark areas.
Long Beach Tower, Cherokee 90260 Tango's over the Queen, landing runway 30 with Zulu.
Cherokee 60 Tango, extend downwind, and I will call the base turn. You'll be flying at MD 85 mile final.
Okay, we're going to go ahead for wake turbulence spacing then, and we'll slow down and take a long final after him for wake turbulence.
Cherokee 60 Tango, roger, runway 30 cleared to land. Hold short 25 right for landing traffic.
Clear to land runway 30, hold short 25 right, 60 Tango.
Wake turbulence avoidance is more of a problem at night because it's difficult to know how far behind heavy aircraft you are. To be safe, make sure you have more than enough lateral separation. Then stay above the Heavy's flight path and land beyond its touchdown point.
Long Beach Ground, Cherokee 90260 Tango's off of runway 30, taxi to Aeroplex.
Okay, now let's review a few key points.
Safe towered airport operations require pilots to adhere to these principles. Be prepared. Know the airport and radar frequencies you'll be using. Be familiar with charted reporting points. Know the land and hold short distances, traffic patterns, and taxi routes. And always have a taxi chart available for ground operations. Be aware. Maintain your orientation in the air and on the ground. Orientation is more difficult at night and in low visibility conditions. Display landing, recognition, and anti-collision lights when operating within 10 miles of any airport. Look and listen for other aircraft near you. Ask yourself, where are they and what are they doing? Observe runway hold short markings. Don't land or taxi on any runway until you're cleared to do so and you've scanned the runway for conflicting traffic. Communicate clearly and concisely. Listen carefully. Request progressive taxi instructions at unfamiliar airports. Read back all clearances and hold short instructions. Be a part of the team. Visit the tower and work with controllers for safe flight and ground operations.
We hope you've learned something about flying into and out of busy towered airports like this, and well, hopefully one day we'll see you here at Long Beach. And remember, it's like driving in busy traffic. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Fly safe.